Hello, this is Yuji. We're at Anchor Point Research Investment Conference in Vancouver. Today, a dozen of companies will present their products and seek for investors. Let's take a look.
Gordon Gekko in the 1987 movie Wall Street famously spoke of information as the most valuable commodity. That principle holds true for the corporate traders as well as honest investors. Nearly 350 investors and CEOs gathered in Richmond, BC on February 27th for the 2016 Anchor Point Research Chinese Investor Lunch Conference, which took place at the Sheraton Airport Hotel. Hosted by President's Club Investment Newsletter, the conference showcased 12 companies that exhibited projects of interest to Chinese investors for the first time in Vancouver. Fabrice Taylor, President's Club publisher and longtime Global and Mail investment columnist, gave an opening speech in the conference. He said that, as one of the largest investment newsletters in Canada, President's Club provided its members with direct access to company presidents and CEOs and latest information. He wished to extend this access to the Chinese investors through Anchor Point Research. After the speech, he shared his understanding of the current market trend and provided investment tips during the interview with CNTV-NA.
How do you select those companies?
That's a good question. I mean, we look at them and we ask ourselves, do they meet the criteria that we like? Do they have good management? Are they honest? Do they write checks? Does the management have money in the deal? Or are they just looking for your money? Is the idea simple? Is it easy to understand? If it's not, you don't want to buy it. If you can't explain what they do to your mom or your neighbor, you probably don't want to invest in it because you don't understand it. So there's a checklist of criteria that we look for. And do we think they have a chance of making it? Keeping in mind that many of them will not make it. Many of the companies here won't make it. But the ones that do will be very, very successful, and the investors in them will do very well.
For this conference, most of the companies are small cap markets.
Yes.
So what are some potential profits and risks for them?
Well, small caps are always risky. They're very fragile, they're new, there's no history, and they always need money, which is why they come to conferences, because they want to meet investors. Larger companies that are established and make money, they don't need to raise it, so they don't come to a lot of conferences. So you can make a lot of money in small caps and micro caps, but you have to understand that they're also very risky. So never put too much money into one, and study them and become comfortable with them. And I gave some tips earlier in my speech about things to look for. Good management, a simple idea, a tight share structure, meaning not too many shares outstanding. If you follow those things and use your own intelligence, you should do well.
Business relations between Canada and China have become closer in recent years with the establishment of Renminbi Settlement Hub in Canada, intensified economic integration and more frequent trade missions between the two countries.
You've mentioned about the Chinese market. So how do you think the differences between Chinese, Canadian, and the American stock markets?
I think the Canadian stock market is very conservative. Chinese stocks go up a lot one day, down a lot. And you don't see that so much in Canada. Canadian investors are more cautious. They don't like to gamble the way, I think maybe Chinese and American investors do. They're more risk averse. And I actually prefer that. That makes it a lot easier to manage your portfolio.
And in Vancouver, we have a huge Chinese community, and they came here, they want to find some opportunities to invest. What are some of your advices for them?
I would definitely find sources of information that you trust, because there's so many people out there trying to get you to buy stocks for the wrong reasons. So you need to learn about how it works, educate yourself, and also invest in information. A lot of people think, I don't want to spend money on a newsletter or on this service or whatever, or a broker, but you need to do that. You need to invest in your investing, if that makes sense. And if you can do that, you get access to better ideas, better information, and your returns will improve.
You've writing for markets for Global and Mail for almost 2 decades. So taking a retrospect, what has been changed for the market in the past 20 years?
Well, I think what's changed in Canada in the last 5 years is that we've relied on commodities so much in this country since we were founded. oil and gas, mining, gold, zinc, copper. And a lot of that was because of the growth in China, buying a lot of these things, and that's stopped or slowed down significantly. So I think that one thing that you've seen change is different kinds of ideas, more technology, more healthcare, more finance, and that's good, I think, for the economy. It does require investors to change their thinking, though, because these are very different companies than mining companies and oil and gas companies. But I think that's a positive by and large.
This exhibition showcased companies in 3 fields: information solution, renewable energy, and lifestyle management. Multifaceted and dynamic, Vancouver's tech and ICT sector is rapidly evolving while drawing global attention and the world's top talents. 3 tech startups participated in this exhibition. They are Healthspace Data Systems Limited, Contagious Gaming Incorporated, and Trax Technology, in hopes of attracting global partners.
Hello, could you please introduce yourself and your company to us?
Yes, ni hao. My name is Warwick Smith. I'm the CEO of Healthspace Data Systems. We are a Canadian listed company on the Canadian Stock Exchange under the symbol HS. We are a government SaaS company, so a software as a service company, and we provide software for 300 government municipalities under 68 contracts.
I just quickly heard a Chinese word. Am I right? Ni hao.
One of 2 that I know, yes.
So I bet you must grow up here in this diverse
I
culture.
do. I live in Richmond, which is in British Columbia.
Oh.
We have a fairly large Asian population here, so we pick up a few small words here and there.
So could you share off your understanding about your industry and what is the opportunities here?
Absolutely. So we're involved in the environmental health departments across North America. So what does that mean? Essentially what it means is restaurant inspectors. We provide the software for them. So we provide them with an enterprise solution along with a mobile solution as well. So what makes us unique is we are the only ones with a mobile solution in the space. You can download our app from the Apple App Store and iTunes, or you can download it from Google Play as well. So what that allows restaurant inspectors to do is rather than going in with a clipboard with pen and paper and filling something out in triplicate, they can now go in with an app, click through all the screens. It makes their job a lot more efficient, a lot quicker, which the government likes and which the inspectors themselves like as well. And it also gives us, as Healthspace, access to all of that data, which is incredibly important and can be very lucrative for us.
So your company is already listed in the stock market, right?
We are. We listed in November of this year under the symbol HS on the Canadian Stock Exchange.
And what brings you here for this conference? What kind of investors you are looking for?
There are a great number of investors here. Aaron Chan, who is from Canaccord, he's the #1 broker at Canaccord in Vancouver, helped finance the company, had a lot of clients here and asked us to come, and we are more than happy to be here.
So which stage actually your company is in terms of the long-term growth?
Yeah, so we just listed and just went public. We are already in revenue. We do $2.6 million US revenue per year, $2 million of which is recurring. Our contracts are all from 3 to 5 years, so it's very predictable income for us. And now that we've just gone public, we're going to look to begin to sell this data that we collect. We think that can increase our revenues significantly by an order of magnitude from where we are today. So we look to see this company grow tremendously over the next 12 months.
My name's Tim Harvey. I'm the president and CEO of a company called TrackX Inc. TrackX is a leading provider of RFID, GPS, and sensor-enabled asset tracking solutions within a cloud environment. We're unique in our ability to be able to utilize a lot of widely accepted and emerging technologies around GPS, locationing technologies, Bluetooth low energy in retail, sensor technologies, and all the existing RFID technologies to provide a very comprehensive platform on which we're able to track high-valued assets like beer kegs and cheese containers and dairy containers and agricultural racks and trucks and trailers and ocean-going containers. So it's an exciting opportunity where there's increased demand from very large companies to better track and provide visibility to their fixed assets.
My name is Justin Berrigan, and I'm on the corporate development side for Contagious Gaming. We are a Toronto stock TSX venture listed company. We recently went public in September of 2014, where we raised around $6 million from small cap institutions and a retail audience. At the time, we had about $1 million in run rate revenue. Following our recent acquisition of Digitote, we're on track for $6 to $7 million in revenue.
Located in the North Pacific Rim, Vancouver has a lot of trade and facilitates trade across Canada and the US as the gateway to Asia. Renewable energy is one of the trending business fields. Firms in North America are now eager to do business with Asia, particularly China, through portal cities such as Vancouver. Solar Alliance Energy Incorporated and Source Exploration Corporation are two of them.
Hello, thanks for joining us. And could you briefly introduce yourself and your company to us?
Sure. My name is Jason Bach. I'm the founder, chairman, and CEO of Solar Alliance. We are a public company listed on the Toronto Venture Exchange and also recently listed on the OTCQB in America. We have some executives here in Vancouver, but the bulk of our business is in San Diego, and we're a company that develops solar systems and installs solar systems on residential rooftops in America.
So what kind of global perspectives that your company is facing recently?
What we're seeing is a huge opportunity in power generation. We're seeing a step change happening in the marketplace that has not happened a lot in many different industries. Some of the comparables to what's happening with solar power would be looking back to the 1950s and seeing the distribution of computing power from the big mainframes to now the smartphone. We have the wireless telecom carriers who were centralized with their control and monopolies of the market, now being distributed to the wireless carriers. So the same thing is happening with electricity and with power. Solar panels have fallen dramatically in pricing from the 1980s, where solar was $80 per watt. It's now 80 cents per watt. So the fundamentals of solar power have changed and allowed it to become distributed. So we're seeing a distribution of power to the people. Everybody has sun. Everybody can generate power at their rooftop, not in a power plant 100 kilometers away that has extracted material from the ground that has been in the ground for millions of years, explored for that, mined it, moved it to the surface, transported it, refined it, generated it, passed it down power lines all the way back to the house. Now it's sun, solar, house. So that type of distributed energy generation is exciting because everybody will be able to make their own power at home as opposed to relying on a national grid system. And that's a very powerful step change that's happening in the marketplace.
Yeah, energy market is one of the most promising sector now for like all of the world. You must have some global partners.
We have, in the past, worked with a number of large companies. I founded the company in 2003 as a private company in Europe. I was living in Europe at the time, raised in Vancouver and went to school here in Vancouver. But we took the company public in 2004, or in 2007 after having our first investment in 2004. And saw amazing returns for our shareholders. I originally put in $15,000, and when I took the company public in 2007, it was worth $80 million. So we've seen fantastic growth. That growth put us on the radar of many large companies, including in China. One company was a state power company that wanted to essentially buy us and all of the wind projects that we were developing at the time. For the last decade, we developed wind energy projects. And they made sense, and they're economic, and they're fantastic projects, but they're large utility projects that take a long time to develop.
So you develop the systems, not the products. So
we develop the project itself. Technology, we're agnostic. We'll buy technology from China, from Korea, from wherever makes sense. For those particular projects, we were looking at Chinese or American technology, and this Chinese state company wanted to wanted to buy us. And I spent a year and a half in Beijing learning how to do business in China. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, an American company approached us, and within 3 weeks we had a deal. So I learned the positives of dealing with China, the massive amounts of capital, the strong interest in North America. But with a state company, I found it fairly slow to get a deal in place to develop our assets. So an American company came in very quickly and just bought the assets before we could complete with the Chinese company.
So it seems like the reason you broke the Chinese buyer's heart is because you are caring more about the value, like how it's growth instead of money. That's
that and just speed. The Americans moved very quickly, and I've been since told that there's a number of large Chinese power companies that are not state companies, and that perhaps we should have been working with them. But it's a lesson learned. It's been a fantastic relationship that we had, learning to do business in China. I do want to go back to China, and I want to help install residential systems in China. But first, I think I need to build size and bulk in America. That'll give me enough size so that when we go to China, people actually see us as being able to achieve something and do something. So we have a bit of focus on America for the next few years, but ultimately we do want to be installing residential systems in China along the lines of some of the government directives that have come from China. There is a massive push for residential solar power. I believe the target is 5 gigawatts of solar power, residential solar power over the next few years. That's potentially more than all of the installed solar power in America in 3 years' time. So there's fantastic opportunities in China if you find the right partners. And that's part of what we pride ourselves in doing, is finding the right partners. And we've managed to sell $1 billion of wind assets over the last 10 years to large, excellent partners.
It seems like you already started that approach by doing some collaborations in the States through some programs with Chinese investors.
Absolutely. The experience being in Vancouver and the large Chinese influence has brought a lot of talent to the city. And one of the things that we have been able to do is capitalize on some of those relationships. And we've been led down the path of a type of financing called EB-5 financing. Essentially, it's a program that's administered by the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Bureau. And it allows private companies to attract Chinese investment for a period of time, and then that company pays back the money after 5 years or so, and the investor receives a green card as well. So that is a fantastic program that allows an investor in America to have a green card after 5 years and see a return on capital. And the benefit is for the Americans is it creates jobs. And Americans are very focused on creating jobs in solar right now. So I believe that the opportunity is fantastic for our company and for Asian investors that want to be exposed to the solar market.
So for today, have you had any chances to talk with some Chinese investors in the conference?
Absolutely. Some of the first investors wanted to see the best way to invest in our company from China, so I've referred them over to some of our investment partners. And I think the interest overall, it's an attractive opportunity. I believe I led my presentation with the fact that I put $15,000 into the company in 2003. And when I took it public, that investment was worth $10 million. So I personally had a return over 650 times my original investment. Now, that's an amazing type of return, and now I want to do it again. I did that once in wind energy. I want to be able to do that in solar power. So when you see returns like that, I mean, that's obviously something that we don't promise, but my objective is to see a significant return on developing in the solar industry based on the last decade of experience I've had in the wind energy industry. So we're looking for Chinese investors and partners to help us grow our company. Our name is Solar Alliance. We are an alliance of people, we're an alliance of companies, we're an alliance of relationships. And that's the only way that you can build scale. And what we're focused on over the next few years is building scale before we enter the Chinese market.
In return and risk always come together. So what is the risk aspect in this sector that you think?
I think in the past we've been much more risky. We've been developing large assets that have had long lead times, 10-year lead times in some point. And there was many points along that road where the project could have been derailed and failed, but it didn't. And we were lucky, we were successful. With solar power, it's different. Cash flow happens much quicker. I believe that solar energy is less risky than wind energy because you're installing one rooftop at a time in an area where there's already development. So there's no environmental risk, There's no First Nations risk, which you often see in British Columbia. You have an ability to see cash flow within 90 days by placing a solar system on somebody's roof and either taking a margin on that sale or owning that solar system and seeing recurring revenue from that system over 20 years. Because the homeowner essentially buys power from you at a 30 or 40% discount to their utility bill. So there is risk, of course. I mean, there's capital markets risk. There's what happens to the world if there's a stock market crash. We are a public company. But I think the fundamentals of the business are sound. U.S. policy has been extended for the next 5 years. So there is a tax incentive in place for solar power. The sun's going to keep shining. Solar panels are only going to get cheaper. So I think this is an unstoppable move towards distributed generation, and I think investors can see fantastic returns from being a part of that.
And what is your long-term vision of your company?
Well, today we're a micro cap company. We have not marketed the company for 5 years. This event is our first time in 5 years that we've started to tell people what we're doing as a public company by directly trying to access investors. So I think the long term is to grow our capitalization, and obviously our share price moves hand in hand with that. I want to have mass so that we can continue to aggregate and buy more solar companies. We want to install many systems as quickly as we can because it's very economic to do so. So we face the challenge or the blessing of amazing growth over the next year. Can we manage 100% year-on-year growth with the sale and installation of our systems? I believe I can. So I'm trying to grow the company so it can scale and have the strength to scale over the next few years so that we can continue to aggregate more companies and just grow our presence in the marketplace. And it's a competitive marketplace, but the demand is fantastic. Only 1% of American homes have solar panels on the roof. I want to grow this industry to 10%.
You think this right now is the best timing, to?
Absolutely. The solar power is cheap. The legislation's in place for incentives. The panels keep on decreasing in price. In the 80s, they were $80 a watt. Now they're 80 cents a watt. And we continue to see that decreasing cost of solar and the increasing of the efficiency of the panels. So I think we have a very clear road ahead of us on how to grow and how to accumulate mass.
Source Exploration is a junior exploration company focused on gold, silver, and copper mineralization in Mexico. All of our exploration work is actually carried out in Mexico. I'm president and CEO of the company. I'm a mining engineer. I've operated mines across Canada and overseas and focused on exploration in Mexico, in Canada, as well as in Turkey and in South Africa.
As world's most livable city, Vancouver is famous for its green economy and a peaceful lifestyle. Element Lifestyle Retirement Incorporated, Global Gardens Group Incorporated, and Eagle Energy Vapor are three of the many local-born companies targeting on health and lifestyle-related products and services. They showed their confidence and eagerness to bring their products to the global market.
您好，能简单的讲一下您这个公司和你们公司的这个理念的产品是什么？
那我们公司呢是一个专门做高端养老设计、开发和运营的管理公司。所以我为什么说了这么多的前缀呢？是因为我们公司比较特殊，我们不光是运营和管理公司，我们还是设计和开发公司。也就意味着，如果说我们的合作伙伴有地或者是我有意愿进入养老行业，我们都可以帮他来。首先，第一，从土地的认购，乃至你有地之后，你想做养老行业，我们来帮你评估，跟政府的进行这种negotiation， 做这种 rezoning 的 application， 包括这种跟政府要高的容积率，通过养老行业的特殊的这种行业的特殊的这种功能性，我们来拿到一些特殊的这种 special 的 policy， 然后让你的土地进行升值。然后我们还会进入第二个阶段，就是帮助你申请建筑的贷款，然后监督这种我们来亲自着手指导设计公司来设计适老化功能的养老院。包括刚才我们提，我们这个养老是分3个阶段：健康老人和半失能和全失能老人阶段。如果都在一个社区当中的话，它怎么非常有效地给它结合起来？这种建筑的设计不是一般的这种公寓楼层的设计， 我们这方面的设计是有专长，所以我们在进行专长设计之后，来引入正常的建商来进入建筑阶段。建完了之后，我们还会提供长期的管理的运营的这样的一种服务，所以我们基本用中文来讲呢，一句话来讲就是一步到位的服务，我们是从头到尾，一步到位。
其实您的公司已经在多伦多上市了。
对。
那这一次在参加这个 conference， 你们的目的是在于寻求投资者，还是说在于寻找一些合作伙伴呢？
我们主要的目的呢，其实我们公司刚刚上市的一个养老的管理集团公司，而且我们的这个公司呢有很长的历史。我们在10多年以前本身就是个上市公司，所以说呢，在那个时候呢，我们的前身，我们的团队出来之后，新成立的这个公司，我们叫新瓶装老酒这么一个公司。所以说这一次参加这个展会的目的，是为了扩大公司的影响力，让大家都知道我们的模式。而通过这个展，我们当然也希望能够找到这个情投意合、理念相同的这种长线投资的这种投资伙伴来进入这个行业。
那比如说具体化你们的这个养老的服务的一些已经出行的一些这个产品都有哪些呢？就是我们，因为你刚才谈到了很多理念，谈到了管理，那有没有一些就是已经已成的一些？
对，我们现在正在着手，我们现在正在做的2个比较著名的项目，我只提2个项目。这2个项目呢，第一个是在我们的温哥华的西区，在女皇公园下面，这是温哥华的核心区域。下面我们有一个我们叫 OPPO 的这么一个 project，这个 project 是温哥华最高端的养老院。我们是做的就像这个5星级酒店一样的高端养老院。我们从这个养老院里面呢，是从我们的 independent living、assisted living 到 licensed care 都有，到人生的最后一个阶段我们都有，而且这个阶段是其他养老院不具备的，只有我们在做的非常少养老院可以提供的。这是一个项目正在做，而且从今年的4月份我们就要进行预售阶段，因为我们养老院是出售一部分和出租一部分是联合在一起的。然后呢，另外一个项目是在我们 Township of Lanley，我们有一个17英亩的地。这个项目呢，我们可以非常骄傲的来讲，这个地我们融合了中国人的养老理念。因为国外认为这个孩子长大就走掉了老人独居，但是我们认为这个是全人类的一个通病，就是老人他希望和自己的年轻一代人进行接触。我们融入了，这是中国人最先提出来的。我们把中国人的理念放入了我们的设计当中。在2015年的11月份，我们代表了 Township of Lanley，参加了一个全球的900多个设计方案当中，来自30多个国家的这么一个比赛。50岁以上的养老社区的设计方案的比赛，我们获得了金奖。
所以说，听您的介绍是说有一个中西结合的这样的一个创造，
中西结合理念的这么一个结合。我们认为我们称之为 intergeneration 的一个 community 的 design，是因为我们觉得老人不可以独居，我们把养老公寓放在一边，我们会有一个整个的社区当中，我们会有一部分是年轻人居住的这种社区包括有高层有这种独立屋有商业中心有这种配套的服务，幼儿园都有。然后我们在它的周边，我们会有一个 walking distance， 我们有养老，像我们这种高级的这种养老的社区来进行配套，我们称之为1碗汤的距离，就是让我不用 physically 的和我的父母住在同一个这个 building 下面，但是我要很近，我需要看我的父母的时候，我可以走过去。我叫1碗汤距离的意义就是说，我走过去的时候，这个汤还是热的。
觉得这个市场的前景非常大，然后完了，你的理念也非常新。
对。
那您觉得就是说，如果说提到这个 risk，你觉得会有哪一些就是 potential risk 在你的这个？
我们认为，我个人认为，我可以说任何行业都有 risk， 但是就目前我进入这个行业这么多年以来的我的分析，这个行业几乎是没有什么 risk。为什么这么说呢？是因为人你可以不吃不喝，但是你不可以不老。因为任何人都有到老的那一天，而且你避免不老这种人生的最后一个阶段，你可能不去想，你不去看，但是你避免不了。而且是从加拿大的市场的需求量，乃至中国大陆的这种养老的现状来讲，它都急需一种像我们这样的这种有先进管理经验的这种模式的植入，来扶持或者乃至是帮助政府来解决到目前现在的问题。这就是为什么我们公司可能会在今年要进入中国市场的一个原因。
所以说，不仅是局限在加拿大打造这样的一个养老的家园，你们也把这个理念想要就是输
对，
入到
我们要
国内
输入到国内。我们用一句话来总结我们的这个模式，我们就是像这家酒店一样，我们是养老行业当中的喜来登酒店。这个品牌 Element 的品牌就是养老行业的喜来登。喜来登酒店你可以看，它不只有物业，它是可以帮你设计酒店，给你运营你挂我的品牌。我们其实就是这样，我们做的是轻资产的一种植入，来运营，来帮助你开发商来。我们不做重资产的投资，但是我们会相对来说看好的这种项目的话，我们也会持以10%到20%不等的这样的比例，像喜来登一样，比如说喜来登、夏威夷，它肯定它就是说它持一部分的比例的这种持股，让投资商来讲呢也会觉得安心。
所以说你们现在就是在寻求就是这个志同意合的这样的伙伴，能够帮助你们。
没错。
Hello, welcome, and could you introduce yourself and your company to us?
Oh, I'd be happy to. My name's Rob Harrison, and I'm the president and CEO of Global Gardens Group. We are a Vancouver-based company. We're trading on the CSE under the trade symbol VGM. We recently launched our new product in November, and as of today in Canada, we're in about 1,200 supermarkets in 3 months. The goal is to be in 1,800 by the end of March. Our product is a vegetable-based product, and we have global aspirations, and therefore the name became Global Gardens. It comes from the garden, and it's going to be global. So the 3 main vegetables in it are pea protein and pea protein isolate, the root cassava, which is tapioca, and organic potato starch. We also then add vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So the product has the same nutritional profile as 2% milk. It's got more protein than almond milk, which is the category leader. It's nut-free, it's allergen-free, it's soy-free, it's GMO-free, it's gluten-free, saturated fat-free, cholesterol-free, and it tastes great. And I know my kids who are the millennials, 18 to 35, and one's a female, one's a male, both use them in their smoothies and in baking. So there's 3 flavors. There's unsweetened, which can be replaced with milk 1-for-1 in baking. The original, which is sweetened with organic cane sugar. And then vanilla, which has 3 separate vanillas in a blend. So the product is now available on the West Coast here in most of the major retailers. We're in Thrifties, we're in Overweighty, Save On Foods, PriceSmart, IGA, London Drugs, Walmart. I'm sure there's others and every store on the island. Everywhere from Quality Foods to the rest of the health food stores over there. We will be in Whole Foods in April, and we will be in Loblaws somewhere after that, probably mid-April. So we will be in all the major supermarkets across the country. And the other really exciting thing for us is we're going to be launching in the U.S. In late March, and we're going to do that at the Anaheim Health Food Show. Now, the Anaheim Health Food Show is the largest health food show in the world. Tens of thousands of people go there, but they're not consumers. They're actually people that work for supermarkets, and they're looking for products. And our company, Global Gardens, and our brand Vegemite has just been told that we are in the top 3 most innovative new products, and we're going into the showcase, and who knows, we might win number 1, but being in the top 3 on a global scale is pretty good. So we're very excited, and so we're here today at the trade show talking to people about the product, presenting our company, and we're off raising money to launch in the U.S.
So it seems like your food has a very good quality, so you must put a lot of funding into the research part.
We did a lot of research. I would say that there's 5 people involved in this company. We've got 100 years experience in the consumer products business. I launched Haagen-Dazs in Canada. I own the Ben & Jerry's license, so I understand about brands. And so we did a lot of research to figure out exactly how to position this product. So there's probably been 7 years of research that's gone into the product development. There's been 4 years that's gone into package design and positioning. So we feel like we've got it. And the other interesting thing to our investors is we have what we call a variable cost model. We don't own any plants or trucks. What we are as a marketing company, what we do is we own the trademarks and the brands, and we will launch these products globally. And it's not just the first Vegemil, which is the liquid product. We can make ice cream and yogurt and cottage cheese and lots of other things. And we have people everywhere from Brazil and Colombia to China that would like to have our products in their marketplace. So it's a very exciting time. And as I say, the variable cost model is interesting because we use somebody else's plant to make it. We use somebody else's truck to deliver it. We use somebody else's accounting department to bill it. And we collect royalty or a profit off all of these sales. So we can grow very quickly and exponentially because you don't have to build a factory, you just find another co-packer.
So that's the idea about global gardens, the
That's
global
correct.
side.
Yeah.
So then what is the core value that the Vancouver office offer to your
Well,
global partners?
I think that is a great question because because it really isn't, like profit is always important. You know, if you don't have profit, you don't have a company. But our goal is to be renewable and sustainable. And we believe it's about people, planet, and profit. So it's the 3 Ps. Our core values of us as people are about trying to be sustainable, renewable, and transparent. So we want to make sure that the consumer who buys our product, because they will check us out. They'll go on the net, they'll go on the web, they'll find out who Rob Harrison is or Wade Bain is, and they'll find out who we are. And if you're not being honest about who you say you are, and if it's not honest with your product, they'll let you know. So it really is about creating a company that's got true value, not just to the investors, but to the community as a whole.
So it's more like a Starbucks kind of model that you actually have people sending to all your places around the world and from the very beginning to the end?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Starbucks own a lot of their own stores, as opposed to a Tim Hortons where they're franchises. We want local representation. Like if we were going to Colombia, we want a Colombian partner that understands that marketplace. You know, we understand our brand and its values, but we don't understand what initiates a purchase from somebody in Colombia or in Shanghai. It's not that they won't like the product, but you have to know how to sell it to them.
So today for this conference, it seems because your company has already been listed, so you are looking for more kind of like a cooperation opportunities instead of direct financing?
Well, we've got, I guess maybe there's 3 things that we're looking for here. One is, corporate support. We've had people that have come to say, we would like to distribute your product in, Hong Kong. We have other people that say, please give me information about your company because I would like to buy your stock on the marketplace and I know I can do that. And the third one is, how do we invest in your company directly? And so I think all of those 3 things have been satisfied here today. We're quite pleased the way things have gone.
You're
here today.
welcome all the different
our wishes came true,
opportunities.
Yes.
See.
I think it's you always continue to turn over the rocks to make sure that you didn't leave anything there. And I think it's been a great show. Quality people, like lots of times you go to a show and there's lots of tire kickers. They really would like to talk about it, but they're not going to do anything about it. Whereas here, I think we've had some real quality people that have come by, and I think that will bear fruit in the next week or 2.
So how do you think the investment ecosystem here in Vancouver compared to maybe 3 or 5 years ago? Because
I guess there's 2 parts. That's a tough question. There's 2 parts to it. One is how difficult is it to raise money in this marketplace today, as opposed to 3 to 5 years ago? Very difficult. How good is it for an investor? Very good, because it is difficult, so that the terms tend to be tougher. It's very difficult for an early stage company in Vancouver that's in the food business. The reality is the mavens who invest money in the food business, you find them in Los Angeles and San Francisco and Chicago and Boston and New York. Here we understand exploration, resources. And when a resources business are good, the people in the resource business will invest in the food business, but the resource business has been slow now. So we've been lucky enough to partner with some real good folks here at Canaccord and other companies that have supported us. So we've raised most of our money in Vancouver, which is like the salmon going upstream. It's tough. Now we raised some in Toronto. We've got good supporters there. But the globe is going to be our resource after this. Once we launch in the U.S., the key is to create our brand in North America and then move it globally.
You seem to have a very great ambition, and you are very loyal to this brand. So it seems like you've. So how many years like this?
Well, I've been involved with this brand for 4.5 years, a long time. I said to somebody one time, sometimes you think you spent your whole life training for this. And that's what it feels like with the people that are working with me today. Like Wade Bain. Wade's got 30 years experience. He's an MBA out of Queens. He worked for Procter & Gamble, Gillette. He's a marketing guy. The finance guy worked for me many years ago. He was senior vice president for the Americas for Cadbury Schweppes. This team has come together with 100 years experience in different disciplines, and everybody goes, this is it. We're in this category, this business is growing in this category, like almond milk and rice milk, and it's growing at 25% every quarter. And we are coming into it at the right time. The wave hasn't even crested yet, so we think we're in the right place at the right time. We're pretty savvy business guys, but we really believe in what we're doing and we trust each other.
You've been involved in food industry for many years.
My whole life. I was right out of school. I went to work for Weston's. Weston's owned Loblaws and places. I worked for the food processing business. I was there for 23 years, and I ran the largest dairy. It was called Nielsen's. I ran the largest dairy and ice cream company in the country. I loved it. It was a great place to work, but I didn't own it. So the driver for me was always, I've got to do something on my own. And so that's what I did. And I went out and I acquired brands and built a factory and created a distribution system. And then fast forward, and here we are today. And everybody is now doing for Global Gardens what they did corporately. Like they're all experts in their field. Now we do it with a team. And if we win and it works, and it's going to, we're the benefactors of that. But so is society. Like the fact that sometimes when you think about what's going on today with the food we eat, it's not renewable, it's not sustainable. Our product, the ingredients in our product, and it's got the same health benefits as milk, but it comes from vegetables that have been grown, these crops can be grown 2 or 3 times a year. You don't have to have a cow, you don't have to feed it grain, you don't have to do all of these things that aren't sustainable long term, and the product has health benefits. And so it's pretty exciting,
So your team is not only driven by the money, the profits which you build, but also the values.
Absolutely. Like as I said, when I worked with Ben & Jerry's were very philanthropic as well. One of the challenges they had, they forgot about you have to have profit. I mean, they did all of these great things, but they weren't making very much money. So at some point, you have to make sure that the cart is behind the horse and it's going in the right direction. But they're equally important factors, how you treat your people, where you buy the product from. Sometimes your buying power is just as important as your philanthropic power. Like if you buy it from needy farmers, you buy it that's what Starbucks is doing with their coffee. They're going to farmers where they think they're going to create value. We're doing the same thing, and if we're profitable, yeah, for sure, that helps. But we share that with everybody. One of the things that's interesting, and the investors couldn't believe this, when we raised the money, we agreed as a group that we wouldn't sell a share for 5 years. So this isn't one of those typical listed on the stock exchange and sell your stock. We believe in this company, and that gives confidence to the investors as well. They don't think that they're buying stock and we're selling it. So it's pretty exciting times, and everybody's keen on it. Like when you're in the right age group, like my 2 kids, like they're tweeting and Pinteresting and Facebooking, and like the first weekend we had our social media, our website up, we had 57,000 hits on our Facebook page. So people are interested in what's going on here today. It's a good story to tell. It's not a me too. There's something happening, and it's homegrown.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And could you briefly talk about yourself and your product?
Sure. So I am a student at the University of British Columbia, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Eagle Energy. So Eagle Energy is the world's first electronic caffeine inhaler. So it allows the user to consume caffeine without the traditional drawbacks of ingesting caffeine, which is the sugar and the calories and the delayed effect. So essentially it takes you 30 to 40 minutes to feel the caffeine when you're drinking it, whereas when you're inhaling caffeine, the effects of the caffeine can be felt almost immediately. So the product is, mainly used for portability. It's not going to spill. It doesn't need to be served hot or cold. It's just an on-the-go caffeine source that can be used, anywhere.
As China now is shifting from the factory of the world to one of the biggest consumer markets, bilateral trade between Canada and China has increased in recent years. Lawyer Lara Yan has worked in investment consulting for decades. He also gave some investment suggestions to Chinese investors during this exhibition.
比如说像这些中国的企业，他们想在加拿大上市，他们所遇到的一些困难，或者是说一些机遇，同在美国上市和同在中国这个资本市场上市哪些的这个异同呢？能跟我们大家分享？
我觉得呢，有很多的部分是要慢慢的去磨合的是文化上面的差异，就是在投资之后，如果是以战略的投资人的方式进来的时候，投资之后怎么跟这个上市公司原本的这个管理层跟他们这个过去的这些股东怎么样来成为一个合作的一个团队，然后大家以互赢的方式把这个项目做得更大更好。
所以您的想法是说，就是说中国的公司在加拿大上市之后，反而是上市之后如何能够融入这边的文化，能够跟投资者的这个利益能够形成一个这样的战略啊，这样的这个反而是最关键的。对，所以上市本身其实并不是那么的有难度。对，可以这样理解。
对的，是的。
Anchor Point Research Chinese Investor Lunch Conference provided Chinese investors with a platform to access to investment opportunities in today's most promising sectors. It bridges the gap between Vancouver's investment opportunities and reliable investors. Apart from individual high net worth investors, conference participants included institutional representatives from the GF Securities, Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management, and the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Canada.